The tablet wasn't on my desk when I left for lunch. When I returned, it sat there like a black mirror, screen glowing with a message that made my stomach drop. No header, no signature, just a single line in silver text that looked carved into the glass. Join me for Christmas. Winter solstice. This is not a request. I know exactly who sent this. Men like Kalian Pius don't send holiday greetings. They send summons. If you've ever wondered what happens when you discover something you weren't supposed to know, stay with me. This is how that ends. I thought I was building a career. Prestigious archival contract. European aristocracy. The kind of work that gets you published, gets you noticed. 6 months cataloging the Pius family lineage, and I never questioned why a dynasty spanning 8 centuries had property deeds, marriage contracts, birth records, but not a single death certificate. Not one. Just gaps. Just disappearances.
Now I know why.
Now I'm the gap they're about to close. The invitation sits on my coffee table, that screen still glowing like something alive, something watching. I should drive to the airport, max out my credit cards, vanish into a crowd in another hemisphere. But I've seen the reach of the Pius estate, shell corporations in 17 countries, security networks that would make intelligence agencies jealous. Running would just confirm what Kalian already suspects, that I've connected the dots he never meant me to see.
So I pack.
Black travel bag. My good boots, the ones with grip. A charger I know won't matter if they confiscate my phone. I twist my dark hair into the high ponytail I wore the first time he looked at me a second too long. Survival isn't about being brave. It's about knowing which game you're playing. The car is waiting when I step outside. Midnight black. Windows tinted to obsidian. The driver is pale, perfectly still, and doesn't blink when I approach. Doesn't speak. Just opens the door to a leather interior that smells like cedar and something else. Something mineral. Something old that I hate that I notice. Hate that my researcher brain is still cataloging details when it should be screaming that we leave the city behind. Christmas lights blur into streams of red and gold as we climb into foothills I don't recognize. My phone loses signal within 20 minutes. No GPS. No landmarks. Just snow-heavy pines and the growing realization that no one knows where I am. I hate that part of me wants this. Hate how my pulse quickens thinking about him standing too close in the archives last month, hand resting on the shelf above my head, explaining a discrepancy in a 1743 land grant with breath that smelled like nothing. Like absolutely nothing. Kalian Pius. Maybe 40, though something about him feels older. Ageless in the way marble statues are ageless. Sharp features that belong in a different century. Eyes the color of winter ice that track movement like he's calculating trajectories. I should be afraid. I am afraid. But somewhere beneath the fear is a current I don't want to name. A fascination that made me spend extra hours in those archives. That made me trace the patterns in his family tree like I was decoding something sacred. The estate doesn't appear gradually. One moment there's just forest and darkness. The next, we're approaching gates that look like they were forged in a fever dream, sleek black metal twisted into patterns that seem almost organic. The gates close behind us with a whisper that sounds final. The manor unfolds, all sharp angles and impossible glass, black stone that drinks the moonlight. But dominating the main atrium, visible through floor-to-ceiling windows, is a Christmas tree that has no business existing here. Easily 20 feet tall, covered in white lights that pulse like a heartbeat, silver ornaments catching and fracturing the glow into 1,000 shards. It's obscene. This warmth, this tradition, planted in the center of something so cold and deliberate. The driver opens my door. I step onto marble that's been heated from below, snow melting instantly under my boots. Every surface gleams. Every corner holds a camera so small I only catch them because I'm looking. Biometric scanners disguised as decorative panels. Motion sensors embedded in the wreaths. This isn't a home. It's a fortress dressed up for the holidays. Tiffany. His voice comes from everywhere and nowhere. Then he's there, descending a staircase I hadn't noticed, and the air changes. Gets heavier. Kalian Pius in his office was unsettling. Kalian Pius here, in his own domain, is something else entirely. He's wearing black velvet that moves like liquid, tailored so precisely it looks painted on. His platinum hair is pulled half up, exposing the sharp architecture of his face, cheekbones that could cut, jaw that could have been rendered in ice.
But it's his eyes that stop me.
That winter sky blue that sees too much, knows too much. They track over me slowly, cataloging, assessing. You wore the ponytail. Not a question. An observation that lands like a touch. My spine straightens on instinct. You said not to be late. I said this wasn't a request. He descends the last 3 steps, closing the distance between us until I can smell that same nothing scent, that absolute absence of anything human. There's a difference. He's close enough now that I have to tilt my head back. Close enough that I notice he isn't breathing. Not the way people breathe. Behind him, the Christmas tree pulses.
1, 2,
3. Like something alive. Welcome to my home, Tiffany. His hand extends, pale, long-fingered, perfectly still. We have much to discuss before the others arrive. Others. The word drops into my stomach like a stone. His smile is slight, controlled. Beautiful and terrible. Did you think you'd be the only guest at a Christmas party? I don't take his hand.
Can't.
Some instinct older than logic keeps my arms locked at my sides. He notices. Of course he notices. That fraction of a smile deepens before vanishing entirely. This way. He turns without waiting, expecting me to follow. And I do, because what else is there? The heated marble gives way to corridors lined with that black obsidian, surfaces so polished I catch fragmented reflections, my face pale and sharp-angled next to his perfect stillness. We pass rooms I glimpse only in flashes. A sitting area with furniture that looks museum quality. A dining hall with a table long enough to seat 30. Everything pristine. Everything untouched, like a stage set waiting for actors who never arrive. He stops at a door that doesn't look like a door until his palm presses against it. A scanner reads something beneath his skin, heat signature, maybe, or lack of it, and the panel slides open with a pneumatic hiss. The study beyond makes my breath catch. Wall-to-wall servers pulse, with quiet blue light. Holographic displays float in midair, rotating data I recognize, genealogical charts, property records, the same documents I've been translating for months. But here they're layered, three-dimensional, connected by lines of light that form patterns I never saw on paper. In the center of the room, a glass desk. Nothing on it except a single tablet. The same tablet that appeared on my desk this afternoon. You're wondering why you're still alive. Kalian moves to the desk, those long fingers ghosting over the tablet surface. The holograms shift in response, rearranging themselves into a new configuration. Given what you found in the 1847 ledgers. My throat goes dry. The blood debts. 3 pages I wasn't supposed to translate, hidden in a shipping manifest. Names.
Dates.
Quantities measured in liters. I was doing my job. I manage. You were doing it too well. He looks up, and those winter eyes pin me in place. Most archivists see numbers.
You saw the pattern.
The absence where death should be. The cash flows that coincide with acquisitions. The hologram nearest me resolves into something new. A double helix, rotating slowly, labeled with markers I don't immediately understand. Do you know what this is, Tiffany? I step closer despite myself. The researcher in me can't help it. Genetic sequencing. But the markers are... I've never seen this configuration.
No.
You wouldn't have. He moves around the desk, approaching the hologram from the other side, so we're facing each other through the spinning light. This is your DNA. Mapped 3 weeks ago from the coffee cup you left in the archive room. Ice floods my veins. You had no right. I had every right. His voice doesn't rise, but something in it makes me stop. Because you're not who you think you are. He gestures, and the hologram expands, branches spreading like a tree made of light. I see names I don't recognize. Dates that stretch back centuries. And there, buried 7 generations deep, a connection that makes no sense. My surname,
Hall.
Linked to a family called Gardar. What is this? Proof, he says simply, that you finding those ledgers wasn't an accident. That your application to my archives wasn't random. He walks through the hologram, light fracturing across his face. You were drawn here, Tiffany, by something older than choice. My pulse is hammering now. You're not making sense. Not yet. He's close enough now that I can see the absolute stillness of his chest. No breath. No rise and fall. But you will. When the others arrive tonight, when you see what I'm protecting, what I'm fighting to preserve, you'll understand why I couldn't let you go. Let me go. The words come out sharper than intended. You mean why you didn't kill me? Something flickers in his expression, almost like pain. I mean why I need you alive. Why you're the most valuable person in this house. His hand lifts, hovering near my face but not quite touching. And why, after tonight, you'll never be able to leave. The holograms pulse once.
Twice.
Then he's gone, and I'm alone with my DNA spinning in the air, connected to a history I never knew existed. The guest room they've given me could swallow my entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook mountains I still can't name, snow falling in sheets against glass that doesn't fog. Heated, probably. Everything here is controlled, calibrated, stripped of anything messy or human. My bag sits on a bed large enough for 4 people. I unzip it with shaking hands. The red sweater is at the bottom, folded the way my sister folds things, precise corners, no wrinkles. She sent it last Christmas with a note. Something cheerful for once. You spend too much time with dead people. I pull it on now like armor. The knit is soft, oversized, comforting. Normal. The kind of thing you wear to ugly sweater parties and family dinners, not to gothic estates where your employer collects genetic data without permission. But when I catch my reflection in the mirror, the color stops me cold. Red like the quantities in the 1847 ledger. Red like the recurring line item I found in 17 different manifests, acquisition, specialty reserve. Red like the only logical conclusion my researcher brain kept circling back to, the one I kept telling myself was impossible. I look like I'm dressed for a sacrifice. A knock at the door scatters my thoughts. I don't answer, but it opens anyway. Kalian fills the doorway, changed into something even more severe. Black on black, high collar, silver threading that catches the light like frost. His hair is down now, platinum strands framing that too-perfect face. His gaze drops to the sweater. Lingers. Interesting choice, he says quietly. It's festive. I force my voice steady. Isn't that what people wear to Christmas parties? People. He steps inside, closing the door behind him with a soft click.
Yes.
They do. The distinction hangs between us like a blade. He moves to the window, looking out at the falling snow. From this angle, backlit by the white landscape, He looks carved from shadow. There are things you need to understand before tonight. You mean before I meet the others?
My arms cross over my chest.
Defensive. The ones who aren't people. The ones who will be evaluating you. He turns and those winter eyes find mine. Some of them believe you're a liability. That the simplest solution is to eliminate the researcher who knows too much. My stomach drops. And what do you believe? I believe you're wearing red to a room full of predators. He crosses the space between us in 3 strides, faster than I can track. Suddenly he's there, close enough that I should feel his breath, but don't. I believe you don't fully grasp what you've walked into. Then explain it to me. The words come out braver than I feel. Stop talking in riddles and tell me what you are. Something shifts in his expression. For a moment he almost looks human. Almost looks tired. Not yet. His hand lifts, fingers ghosting near my shoulder, but not quite touching the sweater's fabric. But tonight, when they arrive, you'll see. And Tiffany, his voice drops lower, urgent. No matter what happens, no matter what you witness, stay close to me. Don't wander. Don't accept drinks from anyone else. Don't let them isolate you. You're scaring me. Good. His hand finally makes contact, resting on my shoulder with surprising warmth.
Real. Solid.
Fear will keep you alert. What you should be terrified of is becoming comfortable. Through the window behind him, the light is fading. Sunset approaching. They'll start arriving soon, he says, stepping back, creating distance that feels deliberate. The gala begins in an hour. Until then, this room is the safest place in the estate. He moves to the door, then pauses. Tonight, you are the most valuable thing in this house, which makes you simultaneously the most protected. His eyes meet mine one last time. And the most hunted. The door closes. I'm alone again, wrapped in red, watching darkness swallow the mountains. Somewhere below, I hear the first car arriving. I wait until the last possible moment to leave the room. Through the window, I've counted 7 cars arriving, each one darker than the last, moving with that same unnatural silence as the Tesla that brought me here. When I finally descend the staircase, the manor has transformed. The Christmas tree still dominates the atrium, but now it's surrounded by people who make the decorations look garish. They stand in clusters, dressed in variations of expensive black, their movements too fluid, too precise. Conversations happen in murmurs that stop the moment I appear. Every head turns. Every pair of eyes tracks my descent like I'm something they've been waiting for. Kalian materializes at the base of the stairs, offering his arm with a formality that feels like a warning. I take it because the alternative is standing alone under that collective gaze. Smile, he murmurs. Your guest. Act like one. I manage something that probably looks more like a grimace. Up close, the guests are worse. Beautiful in that uncanny way. Features too symmetrical, skin too flawless, eyes too bright. A woman in emerald silk watches me with the stillness of a cat observing a bird. A man near the fireplace hasn't blinked once in the 30 seconds I've been looking. Kalian. The voice comes from our left, and I feel his arm tense beneath my hand. You've brought your little archivist. The woman who approaches is older than the others, or at least presents that way. Silver threaded through dark hair, fine lines around her eyes that somehow make her more intimidating rather than less. She wears burgundy velvet like a second skin, and when she smiles, her teeth are too white. Tiffany Hall, Kalian says, his voice carrying an edge I haven't heard before. May I present Elder Kasha? She oversees our European holdings. How quaint. Kasha's eyes rake over me, lingering on the red sweater with obvious amusement. Tell me, Miss Hall, are you enjoying your research position? It's a trap. Every instinct screams it. It's been enlightening. I'm sure it has. She steps closer, and I catch her scent, expensive perfume over something metallic. We so rarely allow mortals access to our private records. Kalian must trust you a great deal. Or, he values thoroughness, I reply, surprised by my own steadiness. Her smile widens. Oh, I like this one. She has spine. But the way she says it sounds like she's evaluating merchandise. Tell me, child, what did you think when you found the discrepancies? The missing death records. Kalian's hand covers mine on his arm. A warning. Kasha. I thought there was an error in the filing system. I interrupt. Might as well commit. I brought it to Mr. Pius's attention. He explained that some records were lost during the wars. During the wars. Kasha laughs, the sound like breaking glass. How diplomatic. You hear that, Matthias? The girl thinks records were lost. The man by the fireplace finally moves, approaching with footsteps that make no sound on the marble. He's younger looking than Kasha, dark-haired and broad-shouldered, but his eyes hold the same predatory assessment. She smells nervous, Matthias observes, as casually as commenting on the weather. Elevated heart rate. Adrenaline spike. Are we certain she's here voluntarily, Kalian? She received an invitation. Kalian says coldly. She accepted. Did she know what she was accepting? Another voice, this one from behind us. I turn to find a third elder, rail-thin and pale as bone, studying me like I'm a specimen under glass. Does she understand what tonight is?
My throat feels dry. A gala.
Winter solstice celebration. A trial. The thin one corrects. For you. And for him. He nods toward Kalian. To determine if his experiment has merit, or if it's merely sentiment clouding centuries of judgment. The room has gone quiet. Everyone watching. Waiting. Kalian's voice cuts through the silence. The trial was agreed upon. These terms were set. His hand tightens on mine. And Miss Hall is under my protection until the council reaches its verdict. Protection, Kasha muses. From what, I wonder? From us, or from the truth? The Christmas tree's lights pulse in my peripheral vision.
1, 2, 3.
Like a countdown I don't understand. Kalian guides me away from the elders, his grip on my arm just shy of painful. We move toward a table laden with crystal glasses filled with something dark and wine red that I instinctively know isn't wine. Don't drink anything, he murmurs. Don't eat anything. If someone offers, decline politely. What is this? I key my voice low. What kind of trial? The kind where you survive by following instructions. He releases me near a corner where the Christmas tree's branches provide partial cover. Stay visible but unreachable. I need to speak with the council privately. You're leaving me alone with them? His jaw tightens. You're safer in a crowd than isolated. They won't act openly. Not yet. But something in his eyes contradicts his words. 10 minutes. I'll be watching. Then he's gone, moving through the guests toward a hallway I hadn't noticed. I press my back against the wall, trying to look casual while my heart hammers against my ribs. The woman in emerald silk drifts closer. Then the man who commented on my heartbeat. They're not approaching directly, but the circle is tightening. A server appears at my elbow, pale, silent, holding a tray of those red-filled glasses. No, thank you, I say quickly. It's tradition. The voice comes from my right. A fourth elder I haven't met, middle-aged in appearance, wearing charcoal gray. His smile is practiced, almost warm. To refuse the winter toast is considered unlucky. I don't drink. The lie sounds weak even to me. It's barely alcoholic. He plucks a glass from the tray, extending it toward me. Just a formality. Surely Kalian explained the customs. My fingers are numb. If I refuse again, I draw more attention. If I accept, I take the glass. The liquid inside is too thick, catching the light wrong. To new beginnings, the elder says, raising his own glass. Around us, others are lifting theirs in response. A coordinated movement. Rehearsed. I bring the glass to my lips, tilting it just enough to look convincing without actually. The elder's hand strikes like a snake, faster than I can process, pushing the bottom of my glass upward. Liquid floods my mouth, and the taste hits me like a slap. Copper and salt and something else, something that makes every instinct scream wrong. I'm choking, stumbling backward, and the elder's smile has gone sharp and hungry.
There.
Now, let's see what all the fuss is about. The room tilts. My vision blurs at the edges. Through the haze, I see Kalian turn from across the room, see his expression shift from controlled calm to something primal and terrifying. He moves. I don't see him cross the distance. One moment he's 20 feet away, the next he's between me and the elder, and the temperature drops so fast my breath fogs. You've violated the terms. Kalian's voice doesn't rise, but it fills the entire atrium. The elegant facade is gone. What's left behind is something ancient and absolutely lethal. The elder raises his hands in mock surrender. A toast, nothing more. How was I to know the girl had such a delicate constitution? Kalian's hand moves too fast to follow. One moment the elder is standing. The next he's on the ground, 5 feet away, gasping like he's been struck by a truck. The room goes silent. Kalian hasn't moved from in front of me, but now I can see what he's been hiding. The absolute stillness. The way the air seems to bend around him. The fact that his shadow falls wrong, darker and deeper than the lighting can account for. When he speaks, his voice carries something that vibrates in my bones. The next person who touches her answers to me. Not the council. Not the old laws. Me. No one moves. No one speaks. I'm still tasting copper. Still feeling whatever was in that glass spreading through my system like ice water. Kalian turns, and when his eyes meet mine, they're no longer winter blue. They're silver, reflective, catching the Christmas lights like an animal's in the dark.
We're leaving, he says.
But his hand, when it takes my arm, is gentle. Careful, like I'm something fragile that might shatter. He walks me past the frozen guests, past the elders who watch with expressions ranging from fascination to fury, past the Christmas tree that pulses like a living thing. Behind us, I hear Kash's voice, cold and amused. Well, that was illuminating. The hallway swallows us. My knees give out. Kalian catches me before I fall, lifting me like I weigh nothing, and his hands are so cold they burn. I'm sorry, he says quietly. You weren't supposed to see. Not like this. But I already know what he is. I've known since the moment I saw those missing death certificates. I just didn't want to believe it. He carries me down. Not to another guest room, not to somewhere safe and comfortable where I can pretend the last 10 minutes didn't happen.
Down.
Through corridors that shift from polished obsidian to raw stone. Past doors that require biometric scans and others that look like they haven't been touched in centuries. The manufactured warmth of the upper levels bleeds away, replaced by a cold that seeps through my sweater. My head is clearing, the awful copper taste fading, but every nerve ending feels raw. What was in that glass? My voice sounds hollow. A test. Kalian's jaw tightens. Enough to see how your system responds. Not enough to convert you. Convert. The word lands like a stone in my chest. We reach a door that's different from the others. Seamless black metal, no visible hinges. He presses his palm flat against it, and something deep within the wall responds. Ancient mechanisms engaging with modern security in a sequence that sounds almost alive. The door opens onto impossible space. Cathedral-sized, carved from bedrock. But where I expect darkness, there's light. Walls lined with servers creating constellations of blue and green, holographic data cascading like waterfalls. And suspended in the center, rising from floor to vanishing point above, a sphere of light that shouldn't exist. It pulses like something organic, patterns shifting across its surface between circuit pathways and textures that look disturbingly like veins. Beautiful and wrong in equal measure. But even I can see it's dying. The light stutters. Cracks web across sections of the sphere like fractures in glass. Kalian sets me down. This is what's really at stake. I move closer, pulled by the same curiosity that's ruled my entire life. What is it? The reason your family and mine have been connected for 8 centuries. He approaches a console, and the holographic displays shift. We call it the seal. Part technology, part something older. It generates a field, bioelectric resonance, that keeps humans from perceiving us as we truly are. The genetic sequences I saw upstairs suddenly make terrible sense. A perceptual filter. More than that, a survival mechanism. His fingers move through holographic controls, pulling up a world map threaded with energy networks. Without it, you see us as we are. Predators. Immortal. Fundamentally other. And history has taught us what happens then. Extinction. The word tastes bitter. Yours or ours. Both, eventually. He pulls up the dual helix diagram, Pius and Gardar intertwined. The seal requires 2 genetic components to function. Our bloodline provides the resonance frequency, but it needs grounding. A human counterweight from a very specific lineage. My pulse pounds in my ears. My family, the Gardar line. Scholars who discovered us in the 12th century and chose partnership over persecution. The sphere flickers violently behind him, and I feel pressure build in the room. They helped us build this. Add their understanding of biology with our nature. Created something that's kept the peace for 700 years. Until they vanished. I'm staring at the cracks spreading across the seal's surface. The missing death certificates. The gaps in your records. 1924, the last confirmed Gardar. Kalian's voice drops. The world was changing, modernizing. The family scattered, integrated, disappeared into human populations we couldn't track. We've been searching for a century. The light stutters again, and in the darkness between pulses, I see his face, ancient and exhausted and afraid. How long until it fails completely? Days. Maybe a week. He meets my eyes. When it collapses, the veil falls. Every human on Earth will see us as we are. And the elders upstairs, the ones who remember the old ways, they're already planning for that world. I understand now. The trial.
The test.
Why I'm the most valuable thing in this house. You need my blood to repair it. I need your consent, he corrects quietly, to bind you to the seal, to make you the anchor your ancestors were. The sphere pulses between us, failing light, painting us both in shades of blue and dying gold. And if I say no? Kalian's expression doesn't change, but something behind his eyes breaks. Then I've already lost everything that matters. The alarms start before I can answer. Not loud, that would be too human. Instead, every holographic display in the sealed chamber flickers red, data streams corrupting into static. The servers lining the walls emit a high-pitched whine that makes my teeth ache. Kalian's head snaps toward the entrance.
No.
The lights cut out. Emergency systems engage, bathing everything in crimson that makes the seal look like it's bleeding. What's happening? I'm already backing toward him, instinct overriding logic. Lockdown protocol. His hand finds mine in the dark, cold fingers wrapping around my wrist. Someone's triggered it from inside the security network. Can you override it? Not from here. He's moving, pulling me toward a secondary exit I hadn't noticed. The system requires biometric confirmation from the main console upstairs. But if someone's hacked the network... The door we entered through hisses open. Matthias steps through, the elder who commented on my heartbeat. But now he's not alone. 3 others flank him, moving with that predator synchronization I saw at the gala. And behind them, dressed in the same charcoal suit he wore at the manor entrance. The driver who brought me here.
No.
Not a driver. Forgive the dramatics, my lord. The voice comes from the figure in charcoal as he steps into the red light. Younger than the elders, sharp-featured, with dark hair pulled back in a style that mirrors Kalian's. But you've left us no choice. Kalian goes absolutely still.
Davian.
You know why we're here. Davian's smile doesn't reach his eyes. The seal is failing. The old world is returning. And you're clinging to a fantasy that a single mortal girl can stop what's already inevitable. You triggered the lockdown. Kalian's voice drops to something dangerous. You've been feeding them information. I've been preserving our future. Davian gestures, and the holographic displays shift, revealing file after file of data I recognize from the archives. My translations. My notes. My DNA analysis. Did you really think I would notice? That I'd stand by while you gambled our entire species on a bloodline so diluted it barely registers? The seal flickers violently, and one of the cracks spreads visibly across its surface. The council agreed to the trial, Kalian says. The council is divided. Half of them are upstairs right now, waiting for confirmation that you've been neutralized. Matthias steps forward. This isn't personal, Kalian. You've led us for 3 centuries. But you've gone soft. Spending decades building tech companies, playing human, pretending we can coexist peacefully. The seal is dying because it was always meant to fail. Nature is correcting itself. I feel Kalian's grip on my wrist tighten. Tiffany. When I move, run for the north exit. Don't stop. Don't look back. I'm not leaving you. You're the only leverage they have. His eyes meet mine, and they're silver again. Reflective. Inhuman. Without you, I'm just another obstacle. With you, I have to choose between stopping them and protecting you. Davian pulls something from his jacket. A device the size of a phone, screen glowing with the same interface as Kalian's security console. The lockdown stays active until we have the girl. The elders upstairs are already moving to claim her. You can fight us here and lose everything, or you can surrender her peacefully and we'll make it quick. Humane even. She's not yours to claim. She's not yours to protect. Matthias moves right, flanking us. The others spread out, cutting off angles of escape. The old laws are clear. When the seal fails, the bloodlines revert to their original compact. The Gardar were our servants, Kalian. Our cattle. That's what she is. What she's always been. The word hits me like a slap. Cattle. Kalian's hand releases my wrist. When he speaks, his voice carries that same resonance from upstairs, the thing that vibrated in my bones.
Davian.
Stand down. Final warning. Or what? You'll fight your own people? Davian's smile widens. You're outnumbered. Outmaneuvered. The security grid is locked to my biometrics now. Even if you reach the console, you can't override it. The seal's light stutters once.
Twice.
In the darkness between pulses, Kalian moves. I don't see the fight, just the aftermath. Davien on the ground, the device skittering across stone. Matthias stumbling back with a hand pressed to his ribs. The others retreating toward the entrance like they've reassessed the odds. Kalian stands between them and me, perfectly still again, but now there's something in the air around him. A distortion, like heat waves in reverse. Go. He doesn't turn. North exit. There's a tunnel that leads to the ridge. Keys in my study, top drawer. Take the Audi in garage 3. Drive south until...
No.
The word surprises both of us. Tiffany. His voice cracks on my name. You don't understand what they'll do. I understand perfectly. My hands are shaking, but my voice holds. They'll hunt me, track me down. And even if I escape, the seal fails anyway. Then what? I spend the rest of my life knowing I could have stopped it. You'd be alive. As what? I move closer, past the point of safety, until I'm standing beside him instead of behind him. As someone who ran? Who let fear make her choices. I look at Davien, still recovering on the floor, then at Matthias. You called me cattle. Said I was always meant to be your servant. Matthias's expression is unreadable. It's what you are. No. I turn to Kalian, and the red emergency lighting paints him in shades of shadow. My family chose partnership. Chose to build something with yours instead of running or fighting. That choice meant something for 800 years. It still does. The seal flickers behind us, cracks spreading like a slow-motion shattering. If I leave, I continue, they win. The old world returns. Everything you've built, the companies, the peace, the attempt at coexistence, it all collapses. My throat tightens. And I've spent 6 months cataloging your family's history. Reading letters from the 1400s about Gardar and pious children playing together. Marriage records. Joint business ventures. Alliances that weren't based on fear but on mutual survival. Kalian's expression shifts. Something raw and unguarded crossing his face. You can't want this. You've seen what I am. I've seen what you're trying to be. The words come easier now. You could have killed me the moment I found those ledgers. Instead, you gave me a job.
Protected me.
Brought me here to give me a choice instead of just taking what you needed. Because I'm selfish. His voice drops to barely audible. Because somewhere in the last 6 months, watching you piece together mysteries that have haunted me for centuries, I stopped seeing you as a solution and started seeing you as... He stops. Won't finish. I finish for him. As someone who matters. The silence stretches. Behind us, Davien is climbing to his feet. The others are regrouping. I'm tired of being the researcher. I say quietly. The one who documents history instead of making it. And I'm tired of pretending I don't feel something when you're in the room. Something that terrifies me and makes me want to stay in equal measure. Kalian turns fully toward me now, and his eyes are that impossible silver. If you do this, if you bind yourself to the seal, there's no going back. Your DNA becomes part of the system. You'll be connected to it.
To me.
To all of us. For the rest of your life. How long is that? I ask. If the seal stabilizes. If this works. Something flickers in his expression. Hope and fear warring. Longer than normal. The resonance, it changes you.
Slowly.
You won't become what we are, but you won't age the way you should either. How much longer? Centuries. The word hangs between us. Maybe more. We don't know. The last anchor lived to be 347. My heart hammers. Not from fear. From the sheer impossibility of what he's offering.
Time.
Enough time to actually matter. To build something that lasts. Then we should stop wasting it. I extend my hand, palm up. Show me what I need to do. For the first time since I've known him, Kalian Pius smiles. Really smiles. And it transforms his entire face into something devastating. You're certain? I look at the failing seal. At the elders watching from the entrance. At the man who's spent 300 years trying to build a better world for his people. I've never been more certain of anything. His hand closes over mine, cold and steady. Then let's save the world together. The process is nothing like I imagined. Kalian guides me to the seal's base, where the light column meets stone. Up close, I can see the interface, bioorganic ports pulsing with dying rhythm. Your hand, he says quietly, palm against the receptor. I press my hand to the surface. It's warm.
Alive.
The moment contact is made, I feel it, a pull like the seal is reading me, unspooling my genetic code, comparing it against patterns 8 centuries old. The holographic displays flare. My DNA sequence appears, rotating alongside the ancient Gardar template. Not identical, 7 generations have diluted the markers, but the fundamental frequency is there. Resonating. The seal pulls. Not blood. Something deeper. The bioelectric signature coded into my cells. Every nerve ending lights up at once, overwhelming but not painful. My knees buckle, but Kalian's arm circles my waist, holding me upright. I've got you, he murmurs. Just hold on. The cracks begin to close. Golden light flows from my hand into the sphere, weaving through fractures, knitting them shut. The stuttering pulse steadies, strengthens. The chamber fills with radiance, so bright, I have to close my eyes. When it releases me, I'm gasping, shaking. But the seal above us pulses strong and whole. Behind us, Davien drops his device. It clatters across stone, forgotten. Impossible, Matthias breathes. But Cassius steps forward from the entrance, the council members flanking her. Her expression has shifted from hostility to something calculating. Respectful. The binding is complete. She doesn't bow, nothing so submissive, but she inclines her head. To me, the seal has chosen. The old compact is renewed. I'm still leaning against Kalian, trying to process what just happened. What does that mean? It means, Kalian says carefully, that you're not just the anchor. The Gardar line never served us. They ruled with us.
Co-sovereignty.
It's been law since the first compact. My stomach drops. You're saying I'm Queen of the Veil. Cassia's smile is thin but genuine. Your voice carries equal weight to Kalian's in all council decisions. You speak for the mortal perspective in our world now. Welcome to the throne, Your Majesty. The title doesn't feel real. I'm still wearing a red sweater. Still have research notes in my pocket. 24 hours ago, I was cataloging genealogies. The traitors will be exiled, Matthias says, nodding toward Davien. Stripped of network access. The old laws demand it. I watch as guards escort Davien and the others out. He looks back once, and his expression isn't hatred. It's pity. You have no idea what you've become, he says. Then he's gone. Dawn breaks as we reach the balcony. Kalian and I stand overlooking mountains painted in shades of rose and gold. Snow falls in gentle curtains, muffling the world. Behind us, the Christmas tree glows in the atrium, no longer sinister, just beautiful. Queen of the Veil. I test the words. They feel too large for my mouth. That's not a metaphor.
No.
Kalian's shoulder brushes mine. You'll sit on the council, make policy decisions. Help me drag 300-year-old bureaucrats into the modern age. He pauses. If you want to. Do I have a choice? You always have a choice. He turns to face me fully. You can be the anchor and nothing more. Just maintain the seal, live your life. Or you can be what your ancestors were, a bridge between our worlds. A voice for change. I look at his face, haloed in dawn light. At the manor behind us, full of people who've lived centuries. At the responsibilities settling onto my shoulders like snow. I spent my whole life studying the past, I say slowly. Maybe it's time I helped build the future. His smile transforms his entire face. Then we do it together. Partners? Equals. He takes my hand, and his skin doesn't feel cold anymore. Just different. Queen and king. Gardar and pious. The way it was always meant to be. Below us, the veil hums with renewed strength. Spanning continents. Protecting both our kinds. And standing here, watching Christmas morning break over a world that suddenly feels full of impossible potential, I realize something. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm ready. Merry Christmas, Kalian. His lips brush my temple. Merry Christmas, my queen. The future unfolds before us, strange and terrifying, and ours to shape. And for the first time in my life, I can't wait to see what happens next. If this story of choosing courage over fear, partnership over isolation, moved you, hit that like button. Share it with someone who believes in impossible love. And subscribe so you never miss stories like this. Thanks for watching.